I power walked down to that pile of gummy bears and back. I should probably set the pile out further, or closer, so I can get at them. My feet so fat I can't get into my roller skates, and my neck and chest don't fit anymore. Look at this. It's a stick-up. It don't work. I do this at a bank robbery, I look like a fool.
You will look like a fool. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast. For those of you new that may not know about this show, the show that takes what's happening in pop culture, try to keep our minds up to date, sharp, to look at what's happening all over the field. That can be like anime, video games, movies, TV shows, trading cards, whatever is fun in the old pop culture field, with hopefully the goal of keeping an eye out for good things that are on the horizon and making fun of and laughing at a bunch of garbage because a lot of it has sadly been infiltrated inside pop culture. So we'll take a look at what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, sometimes even what can be spiritually connected if I see the opportunity to do that. I've been studying spiritual warfare and like all that stuff, and it's quite amazing when you kind of learn through scripture and then like the cultures around and stuff, and how everything can be tied back to scripture. Some of the stuff that's in pop culture is a lot of Gnostic versions of their history. So kind of fun. Kind of fun. If you enjoy the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, today, not only are we streaming on Rumble, YouTube, and X, but we are also over on BitChute. I got BitChute hooked up over yonder, and looks very pixelated on my end. And then it did not. Why didn't it save? I added the thumbnail. Why didn't it upload the thumbnail? Whatever. Oh, now it's good because I refreshed it. Well, that's annoying. Sensitivity normal. I have no idea how BitChute works. So welcome over there. Enjoy it. Oh, I put a colon in my titles. Whoop. Oh well. I'm a noob. Anyway, we got some articles pulled up here. The big one is we're gonna take a look at Sweet Baby Inc. Apparently has been fully exposed. Exposed. We have the article here. Explodes. That it did kind of explode in the sense of a commercial failure in bastardizing or trying to bastardize games. They did bastardize some, but they ultimately failed at their agenda. We'll take a look into that. Borderlands 4 guy, the boss, forget his name already because he's so like not worth me remembering. But he did say that, real fans would buy $80 games. And so one of those stuff, so you can expect Borderlands 4 probably to suck ass when you have that mentality, especially with modern day games nowadays. They're not worth $80. So, and a bunch of other articles, some also including the Star Wars AI being used in Fortnite and SAG-AFTRA being a bunch of bitches and going after it because they were consulted, even though James Earl Jones and his family gave permission. So we'll look into that and other articles as well. Let's hop into it. We'll start off slow here. Also, a fun thing we do, I grab some articles that could be more neutral, but I also grab some that are more like left leaning, like your lovable Kotaku and IGN. So we'll see what they have to say about stuff too. I think that might be kind of fun to like compare to. But what we got right here, Nintendo's latest Switch 2 video shows a close-up look at the game cards, the carrying case. Now, I only brought this up because I mean, you're literally paying for air. If this is the one where it's like you don't own the game, it's just the code inside of the case, like it's like buying a bottle of air. It's retarded and no one should buy it. Nintendo has published another new Switch 2 video, this time showing a close up look at the console's official carry case and it's game cards. So it might actually be the game cards. So it's remarkably similar to those of the original Switch. I mean, not surprised. I don't think they would have changed it that much. Though colored red, as you can see, so they're kind of going like the PlayStation greatest hits route. Switch 2 is able to play physical Switch 1 games, so the similarity in size and forms is perhaps unsurprising. Yep. Video focuses on Nintendo's official Switch 2 carry case and also offers a look at the Switch 2 Joy-Con wrist straps. Like the original Switch 1 carry case, Switch 2 has room for the console, accessories, and game cards. Heck was that? Oh, that was what's it called? BitChute. I forgot to mute the tab. All right, so here it is. This is Oatmeal Dome. Oh, Blue Sky. Yay. Even play it. It's muted. I could care less. Okay, so they got the zippers here. I mean, yeah, it just looks like the Switch 1 case. I have one of these. It said it's got zippers on both sides and it's the color of the Joy-Cons. There you go. Okay, you got your wrist straps there. Very nice. That C button. So it looks like it acts as a little screen protector. Oh, okay. I thought she was like going to put it in the net area. So there's slots. How many can you hold? What was that? 6? 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 games, and then you could probably just dump a lot more in the net, but sure that's not the purpose. Here's where you can hold, I guess, your wrist straps. All right. Well, that's enough of that. We got the gist. So it's due to launch 5th. On Friday, Nintendo detailed the free Switch 2 updates coming to 12 of its existing Switch games at launch, including Mario Odyssey, Scarlet and Violet, that would be Pokemon, and Echoes of Wisdom, of course. Some games will only be getting the addition of Game Share support, a new feature which means that players with multiple Switch consoles, be that the Switch or Switch 2, will be able to play multiplayer with only one copy of the game. It was recently discovered that the colored panels on the sides of the Switch 2 Joy-Con controllers can be removed, and some stores are already offering customization options. So that's probably what we saw there. Very good. I thought this was going to be one of those stupid, like, you get, like, it's the physical case, but it's the code, that they're trying to promote. Pretty much promoting that you don't own anything, which I thought it was going to be retarded, but it doesn't look like the case. But there you go. There's some Switch 2 updates. Boom, boom. Yes. So, as I said before, why is this that way? I got 2 articles here, one from Fandom Pulse and one from Kotaku. So, like I said, we'll see what both of them have to say. So, Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford, that's his name, says real Borderlands fans will find a way to pay $80 for Borderlands 4. What a bitch. I commented and said this is such a beta bitch response. Like, I'm so tired of the, real fans where we heard that all the time from the actors and stuff way back from with the pandemic. Real fans, wouldn't support Trump. Real fans wouldn't or would get the booster, all that jazz. And I'm surprised that there's still people trying to pull the real fans argument because it doesn't work. And it just makes you look like a total chode. And that's exactly what Randy Pitchford comes off of. Like, if you could check out, maybe it'll show his tweets here or his posts, but he got ratioed hard. And he deserves it too. Because when I first read this, I immediately tried to find, because he gives an example. Well, let's read it first. So the CEO of Gearbox, that would be Randy Pitchford, the developer of the Borderlands franchise, said that real fans of the Borderlands franchise will find a way to pay $80 if that is what the game will retail for. So again, the Nintendo attitude of don't think about it, just consume. And again, trying to bring up, well, I'm jumping ahead. Let's continue. Pitchford shared a promotional video for Borderlands 4 and the game releasing on the Nintendo Switch 2. He wrote, I'm so very excited for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm even more excited to bring Borderlands 4 to this incredible magical machine. So an individual stated, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase for the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. So it's this guy right here. So he replied, and here's the post right there. He replied, A, not my call. Well, it is your call. You can at least voice your opinions about it or get about it. I love this. Like, not my call. Who cares? Like, state your opinion if, like, if it is an issue. And B, but whatever. B is the one that everyone's like pretty much told them to piss off. If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school, working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach. And I found a way to make it happen. What a condescending little bitch. Now, I immediately looked into, and maybe there's some sort of poster advertisement on there, but I want to know if Starfleet was actually $80 back in the day. And the best I could find was games ranged from 40 to 80. And they actually included this guy's quote when I was looking. I used Grok to be like, hey, can you find stuff and share it with me, tell me what you find. And Grok quoted this guy, and I'm like, no, this doesn't count because I'm not taking his word at face value. So I'd love to see if there was an advertisement and to see if this game was lower than $80. Because if it was, then your local game store got you, hook, line, and sinker for overcharging that game. I'd love to find out. Again, I know some games were actually 80, but I don't know. I want Starflight. I looked up. It's, I guess, an okay game. I don't know. So a number of individuals not happy with Pitchford's comments. YouTuber Bar Dark wrote on X, "What a terrible response. If you're a real fan, is an awful thing to use against someone. It is, and it goes to show that one, these people are not confident of their product. It sounds like, and number two, it's probably a garbage product to begin with. Especially nowadays when a lot of modern games are still being bastardized and destroyed and literally dumbed down for the modern audience, which doesn't exist. It's activists and tourists never cared about video games to begin with. So this just tells me that Borderlands 4 is going to suck. I actually heard that Borderlands 3 wasn't even that good either. So Synth Potato wrote, Dog, we are not paying $80 for a Borderlands game, fully knowing you'll do multiple season passes that cost another $100, and you'll probably sell weapon skins too. This person said, way to endear yourselves to, quote, any fan there, Randy. Borderlands 3 was a technical mess, and the series needs a hit. And you're out here talking about who real fans are? Way to earn that $80, man. Yep. This guy said, I can't wait for the AAA games industry to collapse in on itself. I'm excitedly counting down the days. Sadly, I'm at that point too. And I don't feel sorry for the people who lose their jobs at this point. It sucks that it happens, but a lot of those people didn't deserve to have that job to begin with. So, alas, I have no more fucks to give. And just counting down the day. This person wrote, real fan here. However, most of us have stagnant waves since 2021, and the cost of living has never been higher. A is likely correct. We could have just done without B. More of a neutral take. Can't wait to buy the Ultimate Edition of Borderlands 4 with every single season pass in 2 years' time for the low price of $20. This is definitely not the stuff you should be saying to the fans, especially when you made a terrible live action adaptation that you have to cover the cost of because it failed. That's probably why you said what you said in this comment. Laugh my ass off. Oh, I never thought about I forgot. Yeah, I completely forgot about the live action. Oh, Asmongold shared his thoughts as well. The funny thing is that this is true for many game franchises, FF, From Software, Baldur's Gate, but I don't think it's true for Borderlands. After watching all of the trailers and gameplay footage, I just don't see how another mediocre millennial humor looter shooter is worth $80. Yeah, I agree. So it's unclear at this point if Borderlands 4 will cost $80. Gearbox nor the game publisher 2K have revealed a price for the game, which is expected to release on September 12th of 2025. As for Pitchford's comments, it's illuminating that he claims the price of the game is not his call despite being Gearbox's. Oh. As for a second point, while his use of the term real fans is quite clearly being interpreted as condescending, the point behind it still stands. People who do want to play the game will find a way to save up $80 and pay for it. In fact, at least one individual noted that he would have no problem paying $80 for the game. I will. Games average $60 in 2005. That's 97 today. We are still getting games at a bargain. $80 for unlimited entertainment is a steal. It costs more than that for movie and dinner for two that last 2 to 4 hours. Except this isn't true. Unlimited entertainment, a lot of the games that are going to be $80 bucks are not going to be good. Like the only games you can make the argument about is Nintendo games. But Nintendo's already being a bunch of greedy motherfuckers like elsewhere and not wanting you to own games that it's to me it's not worth supporting them at all. Like they can gladly like go piss off. That begs the question, will the game be able to sell enough copies at an $80 price point in order to justify its cost, or does the 80 price point push too many people away from the games? Gold notes, it's likely has a lot to do with the game and what it has to offer. And as we've seen in recent years, some gamers have no problem dropping truckloads of cash on games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, World of Warcraft, Madden, NFL 25, and others. However, other gamers are just not willing to do so. But those are different types of game, though. That's the thing. Is I've seen Borderlands like slowly get worse and worse from what I've seen. Like everyone loved one, everybody liked two, and then people were like, on three, and now you have this guy busting out four, being a douche about it. Like, and that failed movie. This is likely why Nintendo adopted a variant price strategy for Switch 2 games. Not all games will have the same price, but the prices will vary depending on how they value the game, what they believe gamers will value the game as well. But you see, this is actually something that I think Nintendo doesn't really understand. Is that the game company like they're doing this variant price strategy, but they actually do have games that can back up the talk of, well, we do see that this is what we believe is $80. But now you have people like, this guy saying that, well, looking at Nintendo and going, well, they're doing $80. We're going to do $80 too. But the game's not going to be worth $80. Watching over time, especially if it's a modern game. Like it's not going to be worth $80. And we got to let them know about that. A lot of games nowadays are not worth $80. And it's not because of the tariffs and it's not because of, you know, inflation or what have you. It's because your games suck. And when your game sucks, it's not worth $80. Sorry. Hate to tell you that. But this is why Nintendo kind of fucked everybody over is because every company is not going to do this price variant thing. They're not going to go, yeah, we see it as $40. No, they're going to immediately just categorize it as it's $80. We think it's worth $80. And that's it. So I think this is Nintendo really screwed over a lot of people because of their greedy ways. Well, let's hop over to maybe more positive about this comment or this guy saying this comment, and that is Kotaku. Lots of douchebags that worked at Kotaku who are now fired. But we'll just leave it at that. Borderlands 4 boss says a real fan will pay $80 for game. So game prices have been the subject of controversy since games had prices. How much is a game worth? What qualities or aspects of a game justify a higher price tag or demand a lower one? Does the game that costs $70 deserve the same critical reaction at the identical game but 30? All this has gone on since time immemorial. Wait, immemorial. Feel like a better word could be been there because I'm retarded. But something that seems to rumble underneath so much of the discussion is rich people telling poor people that price doesn't matter. Ooh, going that route. The old rich people, poor people examples. When asked about a potential 80 cost for Borderlands 4, multi-millionaire Randy Pitchford, CEO developer Gearbox, told a potential customer, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. Interesting that they're framing this with I don't get this because people from Kotaku would love what Randy has said because it's sticking it to the chuds and all that, you know? Here they are saying, definitely pulling out the identity politics labeling of rich people telling poor people. Pitchford offered his reasons for being so certain of this. In 1991, when he had just left high school and was working a minimum job wage at an ice cream parlor, he was able to find a way to pay $80 for Starflight on Sega Genesis. So, so can everyone else. So he sent a message, and okay, we read that. He grew up in Fairfax, Virginia, then California. His father worked in U.S. intelligence in the 70s. Oh, wow. They're going into like his background now. Jeez. Well, I can't say for sure, although I have emailed to find out. It seems vanishingly unlikely that Pitchford was living off his minimum wage ice cream job after he graduated high school, as his tweet seems to want to heavily imply. Pitchford soon after went to UCLA, so we can quite safely guess that this was a short-term job, one for earning a bit of extra spending money while still living at home with his parents. I would suggest that to use this anecdote to explain to all living humans that if they really want a copy of Borderlands 4, they can easily find $80 to spare is grotesque. Kind of makes me sick. Oh my gosh. This article also makes me sick. Now, granted, it's kind of bashing Randy, but oh, dude, no one wants. Oh my gosh. Look, I didn't dive too far into his personal life to find out just if he said it's true. I went the other route. See, I didn't go after like the person. I went after like, okay, he's saying Starflight was $80 back in 91. Can we find the price of that? Is that actually true? And we don't know. Hey, Chaos Smash, what's up over on YouTube? What up, fool? Oh my goodness gracious. Anyway, I would suggest I already read that. Luxury viewpoints. Video games are luxury. That's a point many people want to make. And where is this article going? Oh my gosh, Kotaku. Dude, holy crap. This article is being padded from douchebag says don't think, consume, and now we're getting into the the argument of luxury viewpoints. Yeah, Smash says, I'm good. What's this retard at Gearbox saying? Oh, the Borderlands 4 guy says real fans would pay $80 for games. Pretty much the don't think, consume. And everyone's pointing out the fact that they either A, don't believe him at face value, because he's claiming back in the day in 91, he bought Starflight for Sega Genesis at $80 on a minimum wage ice cream parlor job. And everyone's calling him out on his bullshit, including me, because we know exactly, again, what the AAA studios are going to do. Nintendo started all this, and they're trying to go, well, we have this idea of like the prices will vary. It will depend on what we think it's worth and what the gamers think it's worth. And that'll justify it being 80. But other games will still be like, even 40 and stuff. We all know that the AAA studios are immediately just going to slap that $80 price tag on. They're going to. We know it's going to happen, and everyone is not going to fall for it. Hopefully not fall for it. in terms of thinking that a game that these modern games nowadays are worth $80 because they're not. And the fact that this guy went out of his way to say you're not a real fan unless you pay 80 bucks if it turns out that to be tells me that he has no confidence in the game whatsoever because he probably lost money when they did that shitty movie or TV series or what it was. And then apparently Borderlands 3 not being there you go. There you go. There's a catch up for you for anybody new that just joined. And holy dear Lord, now it's getting into America worked in a low rage. Oh my gosh, all this to try to just like bring it back to this. Hopefully this context suggests why it's so revolting for a man who sold his company for potentially 1.3 billion in 2021 to tell someone on X that if you're a real fan you would find a way to make it happy because when he was doing it blah 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 blah. It's gross. It sucks. I'm fed up of it. I'm sick of rich people telling poor. Oh my gosh. Dude, dude, I just when I was starting the show, all I did was I said maybe it'll be funny if we read different spectrums of the same article. Read this person's article that's more right leaning, read this person article that's more left leaning. So I picked Kotaku and holy crap. Like went on a tirade about poor people in America and rich people. Also that he could say, yeah, this comment sucks because XYZ. Like, oh my gosh. I don't even yeah, see, this is why I don't go to these people's articles because it's like, dude, I don't need a lecture about the poverty line and stuff in America when I'm looking about video games, Like it's one thing if the video game is based on poverty, I guess, but another thing, dear Lord. Unfortunately, they will fall for it because they're mindless consumers. This is true. Do I dare continue reading the story? Luxury viewpoints. Video games are a luxury. That's a point many people want to make in situations like this. Can't afford a console to play on the game. People might begin as they argue that you can't really be that poor if you can still afford entertainment. All those people living on welfare, but with those giant TVs, etc. It's a fascinating perspective, almost exclusively pro-offered by those who aren't living on welfare and have rarely truly wanted for anything, because if there's one thing that's pretty damn desirable when you're living in real poverty, it's some opinion. Dude, I'm like my attention span just like, dude, oh my gosh, all this to set up that you got pissed off because he said like $80 games that we it's funny because this is coming from Kotaku, and we all know Kotaku are a bunch of woke fags anyway. So it's like that's funny coming from a rich loser like this guy. So this isn't about so many others fiercely working and dude, this is what we're talking about. Like, yeah, it's like, okay, he made a douchebag comment, and yeah, he's probably has a good chunk of change and is living fine. So therefore, I can write an article and then go on a soapbox rant. It's like, dude, like get back to the video games. Oh my god! And look, now we're getting into in 2023, 23% of Americans worked in low wage jobs, and 11.6. Dude, I'm not reading this. Fuck this. If you want to read it, go ahead. This is a commentary, by the way. But oh my gosh, yeah, we're skipping that. He wants to rob and steal from us plebs. Now, I specifically chose this one because this is this is like the theme of the article. This isn't like a video game article and then turning into a soapbox rant. This caught my eye. This comes from Fandom Pulse, and I know some people, for the people who work under Fandom Pulse, I know a lot of people are up and down on those. But anyway, but this still caught my eye. The pop cult, the death cult that are destroying the West. Now, I've been slowly studying like scripture that in terms has led me down to where does, Gnosticism, polytheisms, and like the fallen angels and all that stuff. A lot of that like stems into where a lot of occults are, your Freemason, all that stuff. So this did catch my eye. That's why I brought it up here real quick. I don't know how long this is like. Holy crap, it just feels like it goes on forever. We'll see. Repeating the ancient observation that human beings are wired for worship is all the rage these days. Even hardcore atheists are fond of garnishing their rhetoric with that old chestnut. The follow up is usually an argument that treats piety as an evolutionary mistake, like an appendix prone to inflammation. Science lovers. Wait, why is silence? Why is science like trademarked? Yeah, especially as I hate long articles. I hate the articles that like they pad it by just repeating the same thing twice, just changed a little bit differently. Like, I have no problem reading a really quick article and then we can move on to the next one because it's like, okay, you told me what's up. Science lovers propose solutions ranging from curing faith with magnets like 19th century mesmerists to replace outdated religion with a more rational substitute like French Revolution. Wait, why is rational copyrighted? What is going on? Uh, I have a lot of other articles. We're gonna put this one on hold. I am intrigued still, but holy moly. Like, I didn't know we were going like this coming in hot like this. But like the cult of pop culture. I mean, we kind of get there. Let's When the big brain bunch always misses the fact they're engaging in a form of worship themselves, worships of their own intellect, which statisticians William M. Briggs called cytolatry. But I'm not here to talk about the small-souled bug man. They've had it. Okay. Today we're taking a closer look at two cults that have sprung up more or less organically in the stagnant tidal pool left when Christianity receded in the West. Two secular religions now compete and often collaborate to take the cultural high ground once held by the church. First, let's define our terms. Qualify as a religion, a group must have three elements: a cult, a consistent body of ritual for public worship; a code, a set of morals; and a creed, a canon of shared myth that defines a shared identity. I'll add a further criterion introduced by reader DJ, sort of a religious officer adherent explanations of their past, present, future, the origin story that is part of the creed, ritual laws for here and now, see cult and creed above, eschatology, the final chapter of the creed. With the preliminaries out of the way, let's take a look at our two worldly cults in light of this terms. Oh gosh, you guys see that video of Pedro being a weirdo and like sucking off a rainbow gay like neon light thing? Chaos Smash says, I love you bounding into comments, but holy fuck, your articles are long as shit. This is from Fandom Pulse, actually. This isn't bounding into comics. In fact, I forgot to scope bounding into comments. So, oop. The 30-year-old cat lady who angrily petitioned HBO to remake Game of Thrones Season 8, the geek who buys 4 copies of every limited edition comic, the Star Wars fan who still... None of them are merely consuming entertainment. They are engaging in acts of public worship sanctioned by the pop cult. Let's bring it down. Cult. Conspicuously consume movies, TV shows, comics, and games, blessed by the high priest at the 6 media companies, attend the holy conclaves, don the sacred vestment, ironic pre-faded t-shirts, and cosplay, go forth into the comment section and social media as a brand evangelist. Is this like okay, I kind of chuckled at this. Like, are they trying to be serious about this sort of thing? Like, I take the occult and like witchcraft and stuff. I I believe that they take it serious, so therefore we need to be aware of what they're talking about and like what they're actually doing and stuff like that. Chaos Smash says, I'm fucking lost on this too. I am too. Like, I don't know. I just figured they were gonna talk about what they mean by pop cult and death cult. And we have to go through all of this stuff to like establish what they're talking about, which I feel could just be like condensed a lot better. Oh my goodness. Okay. Creed. This is where the pop cult falls short of a full-fledged religion. While they have a massive and growing body of shared lore with which all members are expected to have at least a passing familiarity, only hopeless psychotics believe any of it is real. Well, I mean, that's technically not true because a lot of the stuff in pop culture stems from Gnostic history, and it's their version of what they think history happened and compared. And for people, by the way, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking from a scriptural standpoint because I believe that is the truth. And then when you stand there and then you kind of look out from everything and dig deeper and stuff, a lot of it makes sense. Did a mentally autist write this? Maybe. I feel like they're trying really hard to make a point, and it's just like coming off as the ramblings of a madman. I'm not trying to bash the person. Like, so I've had Gary Wayne on the show before, and we talk about like he's a good friend. I like his books. I'm reading his books. I read other people's books. I pray, test the spirits, believe these people are not twisting the scripture and stuff, but they're just providing information for you to where then you can go and do your own research. That's called Acts 17:11. If anyone wants to know the scripture, pretty much says don't just take what people say. This is what the word is saying. Like go and study it yourselves, and you'll probably come, closer to a relationship with God, or you might even start one too. A lot of people think the Bible contradicts itself. Actually, it's providing more information. So, whenever you get those sort of red flags, that's could be an excellent opportunity for you to get in a relationship with God. Um, but that being said, like I can't tell you like the ramblings of people like that leave comments on those videos as if they expect like you 100% are on page of what they're talking about and they're just rambling like lunatics. This is like the same. You got to watch out for those people too. A lot of them I think are actually like the demon. The demon spirit is like going insane because truth being told, and now they have to come out and be like, oh, and foam at the mouth and all that stuff. Oh my gosh. I might read this on my own time. I guess let me know in the chat. Because I actually do have other articles here, and I usually do the show for about an hour, so I don't want to stick on this one. Let me know in the chat, you guys, or in the response or something if you want me to like finish reading this article at the end. Not that I'm trying to like, you know, avoid it or anything like that, because it does catch my interest. But I feel like I'm staring into the abyss at the moment. All right. So we'll put that one on the back burner. But get this. Neil Druckmann is working on a second unannounced game at Naughty Dog, as if, Intergalactic isn't already under hot water for probably gonna again bash Christianity if it's especially talking about faith and stuff. I've already said this before. 100% guarantee gonna be portrayed that every religion that's gonna show up in that game is gonna be fine, except one religion, and it's usually Christianity. And when I say usually, I mean all the time. So we're gonna get that. But apparently during that, he has a second game in the works. So he's revealed he's involved in a second unannounced project at Naughty Dog along his sci-fi game Intergalactic. Naughty Dog has historically struggled to work on multiple large games simultaneously, and following the cancellation of the Last of Us Online game 17 months ago. Oh, just because Neil was sitting on a gold mine and then he sacrificed it to the altar of wokeism, and now everything is shit. That's why you have The Last of Us complete a complete collection 5K remastered version 4.0. Gosh, they just keep remaking the same crap. Oh, look, the fake Israeli. They can't make shit. This chaos, man. This is, yeah, Yeah, can you imagine, like, sitting on a lottery ticket that is The Last of Us? Now, I don't believe it's a masterpiece. It's a really good game, but it's by no means a masterpiece like everyone hypes it up to be, and then just taking that lottery ticket, setting it on the ground, and taking a big ol' shit on it, and then and it smears, like, the winning numbers and all that stuff, and then going in and try to cash it into the gas station, wherever you scan your lottery tickets. Oh my gosh. It was unclear whether it would be destined to continue focusing on a single main project, even though it insisted at the time it was planning multiple games. Now, speaking to Press X to continue podcasts, more like Press X for doubt, Drunk, Drunkman has reiterated that Naughty Dog is still working on at least two projects and confirmed that he's producing an unannounced game alongside Intergalactic. We have several directors on Intergalactic. He said, I work with two game directors, Matthew Gallant and Kurt Marganeau, and I have a co-writer in Claire Carre. Yeah, Smash says, interesting analogy. I don't know. It was the best thing I could think of. Probably just as bad. And here I was saying that the other, that one article, I feel like I'm reading something written by a madman, and then I go and say that. So I guess egg on my face. Oh, so there are times when I'm away and they are in charge, and I get to come back and be surprised and enjoy certain choices they made. And other ones I pull my hair out over and we have to change course or argue about it. He continued, then there's another game that's being what? Like he's talking about Intergalactic? That above comment was about Intergalactic? He was happy. He was happy because probably woke stuff was being pushed, and he was like, "Yay!" And then he went over and like saw maybe some sort of centrist element in there, and was like, "No, we gotta change course immediately, quick! Throw in a weed house, and then have two lesbians mac out in it." Make sure that, they look like men, because 'cause I'm afraid of women. That's what I think, by the way. That's just a personal opinion. I feel like the reason why a lot of Neil Druckmann's, women are very manly is because he really hates women. Or he's, like, afraid of feminine beauty for some weird reason. Don't know why, but that's my thought on it. Maybe he's just a closeted homo. I don't know. He married? Like, we never heard of a married gay person before. Ugh. Gotta as Norm Macdonald said, it's gonna put up an image for the folks next door. So he commented, I enjoy all these roads, and the fact that I jump from one to another makes my job very exciting and always feeling fresh. I'm never bored. He continued, there's another game. I kind of skipped there. That he's okay. There's another game at Naughty Dog where I'm in more of a producer role and I get to mentor, watch the other teams, and get feedback and be the executive. Then he says, I enjoy all the roles. Those comments suggest that at least two prominent game directors, Sean Escaji, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and Anthony Newman, The Last of Us Part 2, both not the best games. In fact, the latter being absolute shit, in my opinion. Be working on an unannounced projects. Former Naughty Dog president Evan Wells admitted in 2021 interviews that the studio was still struggling to fully implement a multi-project development strategy following the release of The Last of Us Part 2. Almost like that when those leaks came out and people read it and they were really mad that you pretty much shat all over the established story that you made in Part 1. Almost like you didn't fully recover for that. Even though you guys were all jacking off about how much pre-order sold and how much the game sold and stuff. And yet, weirdly enough, didn't really seem to comment on the amount of returns that those games had. Yeah, Smash. He's married and has a biological daughter. The fact he based Ellie on his daughter is bizarre considering what he did to her and to I know, like, I don't know. I always call him Cuckerman. Maybe he is truly the cuck. And he's forever damned in that situation forever. I don't know. Anyway, PlayStation Studio first attempted to embrace a multi-project model following the completion of Uncharted 2, with designers Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann establishing a second team to create The Last of Us, alongside the group working on the third Uncharted. However, Wells told Game Maker's Notebook that Naughty Dogs will ultimately unable to maintain two full productions, with one project inevitably gaining favor and pulling resources from the other, that it was an issue that the studio still struggles with in 2021. The amount of effort that was required to finish Uncharted 3 at the time was stealing resources away from The Last of Us, and we never got to the point where we had two full productions going. That sounds like poor management to me, but I'll smash this. I just think he's a sadist. Well, I do my best to try to find the good in people. And a lot of times I really fail. So that's when I just give him that agape love and I move on. Maybe be a little facetious and throw some jabs in there, but that's me. I would say even today, we're just short of that. We definitely have multiple projects, but only one that is getting the lion's share of focus at any time. Like, how are you struggling with this? All you did was like remaster The Last of Us how many damn times? Imagine if this scum never existed. I guess we wouldn't have Uncharted or The Last of Us. Was he actually part of like the creator of Naughty Dogs too? I don't know. Again, something happened because I feel a lot of these companies back in the day didn't give a shit about any of these woke ideologies. And then, of course, the big turn happened. Probably a lot of that government cha-ching that they get. And so they changed their tune. Again, that's where the mask clip is. The mask clip is either they were always scum to begin with, or something scumming, or they'd been infested by, infested with the woke hive mind and they refused to turn back. We don't have two projects that have several hundred people on them. We have one project and then some that are in pre-production or maybe just creeping out of pre-production, but we will have to wait until the main focus completely has been completed before we move everybody off of that project. I refuse to look for the good in him. He's a hollow psychopath. I mean, again, that's where you just give him that agape love. That means that highest form of love, pretty much that godly love, that unconditional love. You're supposed to give that to everybody. It does not mean, however, that you agree with like the actions that they done, the life they lived, and all that stupid shit. Don't get that confused. But don't, but at the same time, it's kind of like you don't have to dwell on it. You can just move on. God will take care of it. And whether that's bringing down the harsh fury and wrath or, giving him forgiveness, God has the power to do that. I do not. I'd be murking people left and right if I had the powers of God. I think a lot of people would do the same in Minecraft, of course. I'd be fine with not having Uncharted as long as games didn't get made. There's some movie games out there that are pretty good. Anyway, so Tech for Gamers kind of had the same article. We're probably just going to get the same info, but again, I like bouncing between different articles just to see if there's anything that was missed out. Focused on Intergalactic at the moment, but recent rumors pointed to the development of an additional title at the studio. Although many fans had hoped the second game would be The Last of Us Part 3, the studios had previously confirmed that a third chapter in Ellie's story had not begun development. Per his latest statement, however, a new game other than Intergalactic is being worked at Naughty Dog. How can you come back from The Last of Us Part 2 since you bastardize it so hard? Like, how do you come back from that? Oh gosh, and then you just have that picture right there. The studio recently canceled Last of Us multiplayer and has been focused on various re-released based on the same franchise. I pointed that out, by the way. As such, fans will be glad to know that the team is developing two new projects. Oh boy, it only took forever. He also spilled the beans. Second Naughty Dog project, say that work on this project is limited producer, like we read. Intergalactic director mentoring other developers, giving them feedback. And then he was not specific about what this new project is. Fans have speculated whether Naughty Dog is working on a spin-off or a remake of an existing franchise like Uncharted. Dude, if it's a spin-off or a damn remake of like an established franchise or of Uncharted, Naughty Dog is done. Like, they're so unoriginal. and they're putting I feel like they're putting all their eggs in Intergalactic, and it's just gonna fail miserably. They're gonna try to hype it up like it's gonna be a huge success, but it's gonna be garbage, I guarantee. And if it's not, well, then whatever. Does not appeal to me at all. According to the developer, he's currently jumping between this role and his task as the intergalactic director. If I could enunciate, that'd be fantastic. Neil Druckmann says that he enjoys the flexibility of working in these roles. To have the power of great diction and filling different positions within the Naughty Dog team. Yeah, we kind of got the gist of this. Oh, it's near the end anyway. Because the studio has stayed relatively quiet over the last few years, perhaps fan will receive an official look at the mystery project sometime this year. Intergalactic itself is still quite far from its release, so it'll be interesting to learn how far along the second game is by the time it's announced. Fantastic. SAG-AFTRA. SAG-AFTRA. They, I gotta say,
This guy must be a fag.
they're that. SAG-AFTRA challenges Epic Games over Darth Vader AI in Fortnite. Dear Lord. This is why unions are a big pile of shit. There's a short video of an indie game involving a bunny ninja girl hacking and slashing giant Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Can you check it out later on the stream? Also, great enunciation. Oh, thank you. I want people to understand that we're the #1 retro gaming, game streaming, and the #1 pop culture, news source. And by news source, I mean reading other people's hard work and dedication and commenting on it. That's all the reason that you need in order to like and subscribe this channel and help it be the best that it can be. Because I give you 100% professionalism with no, boomerang or technical errors happening ever. You can scan my entire library. You will find none because I am that damn perfect. I'm also a ginger, by the way. All the more reason why you need to help me because I am, of course, the most oppressed people out there on this planet. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. And as you can see, I kind of think it'd be fun for a Rumble subscription to membership goal. Get some tiers, sign-ups over there. And I've been saving this Norm Macdonald clip to play. And I was kind of thinking, I think it'd be fun to kind of have kind of like how Conan had a Chuck Norris lever. Have one of those, where it's like, every, if make a goal on whatever amount of super chats or membership and stuff, we can pull that lever and see that randomness. It'd be fun. I'd have to give a lever though. Don't worry, I can find one. Anyway, yeah, what was I saying? SAG-AFTRA? Yeah, they're a bunch of homos. The Labor Union for American Actors has criticized Epic's edition of Darth Vader. What's up, Loki? AI chatbot in Fortnite and accused the company of unfair labor practices, even though James Earl Jones and his family conceded that they could use AI. Never mind them. SAG-AFTRA has to make an example here. Fortnite added the Darth Vader chat box with its latest season. See, 100% perfection, which allows players to interact with the character who will respond with the iconic voice of late actor James Earl Jones. Epic says Jones' AI-powered voice was used with permission from his family. However, SAG-AFTRA says fuck that and argues that the tool still takes work away from other actors who could have voiced the character in video game form. Never mind what James Earl Jones said or his family said. Never mind that. Some other black overweight person should have voiced James Earl Jones's. And of course, we know the irony of it is, what was his name? ZD and who was the other person? There's like 2 people that are now complaining that they don't get enough roles because they got what they wanted, and that is they're being literally typecasted based on the ethnicity of the character in whatever, anime or what have you. And yeah, reap what you sow, motherfuckers. So we celebrate the right of our members and their estates to control the use of their digital replicas and welcome the use of new technologies to allow new generations to share in the enjoyment of those legacies and renowned roles, it said in a statement. However, there it is. There's the however. Oh yeah, that fat of misery. That was a little bash on James Earl Jones. Like, God rest in peace, because he did the Lord's work in providing great entertainment. That's just me being a little However, we must protect our right to bargain terms and conditions around use of voices that replace the work of our members, including those who previously did the work of matching Darth Vader's iconic rhythm and tone in video games. Dude, SAG-AFTRA, holy crap. If someone found out that there is going to be a Star Wars game where you are literally Darth Vader, the entire game, you're Darth Vader. You're telling me that you truly believe people are going to go, oh, dude, that guy who impersonated James Earl Jones, like, I want him to voice, this Darth Vader version of this game. Or are you going to look and go, hey, they've got all these lines from James Earl Jones and he literally played Darth Vader? Like, dude, the delusion. This is why unions are scum. They're scum because they hurt other people by saying, "Hey, we're on strike, so you can't get any work. You better not audition or you're going to be a fucking scab or whatever." But yet, the people in power are not going to give up their power for the poor, for the poor, miserable, poorly treated actors down below. I was referring to Pro ZD. I never liked him at all. Oh, okay. I was not shitting on Journey. No, I was referring to me. Because there was like a time when I like kind of looked at like how James Earl Jones like changed and he got put on a little weight. That was me. Anyway, so SAG-AFTRA goes on to accuse Fortnite's signatory company Llama Productions of choosing to replace the work of human performers with AI technology. The fact that all these people are ass mad that human performers are being replaced with that AI technology tells me that you're shit at your job and you probably deserve to be replaced. Hate that it comes to it, but we warned you guys over and over and over again. Literally, you can look back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. All of your stupid political opinions and all that shit, there was no problem keeping that behind stage and have it not affect the final product. Okay? Like your Steve Bloom. We all love Cowboy Bebop. We all loved the English dub. We all like Spike Spencer. He also voiced Sushio Makoto and the OG Rurouni Kenshin. Go ahead and name it on. Then, the woke ideology came around, Twitter came around, all that stuff. You followed your heroes and you realized that they're scummy assholes. And all we said was, hey, like, you're fine with believing what you want to believe, but don't demonize the other side and say that they're not real fans or you don't support me or if you blah, 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 blah. You guys literally had no problems back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. No problems whatsoever because all that shit was behind the scene and should have been dealt with behind the scene. Did not affect the final product. Now, this woke stuff, like, it's part of the job requirement, and that's wrong and that's scummy. So I hope you guys all get replaced. Unfortunately, they did so without providing any notice of their intent to do this and without bargaining with us over appropriate terms. Again, SAG-AFTRA. I believe James Earl Jones, that wonderful man, and his family said, yeah, go nuts with the AI. We give you permission. They don't need your fucking permission. Like, go fist yourself. Oh my gosh. As such, we have filed an unfair labor practice charge with the NLRB against Llama Productions. Epic is yet to respond to SAG-AFTRA's statement. SAG-AFTRA started a strike last summer after it said it had failed to negotiate acceptable protections around the use of AI for its members. The strike remains active, meaning video game companies and their performance production arms, with exceptions of those who have already signed agreements with SAG-AFTRA, likely won't be able to uh, hire unionized actors to perform motion capture or voice work for their for their games. Good. Hire the non-union ones. Hire people based on their talent and their ability, and not because they're part of a damn union. There you go. Problem solved. Dang, I don't have the reading rainbow like the more you know thing. What do I have that I could play at the end of that?
They used ammonia. None of this is any good. Fuck!
God bless you, Agent Paul Smecker. Did that make sense? No, but it's his enthusiasm that catches you. Yeah. Do you think they came for the fact, man? All right. So like I said, we've kind of been comparing like different across the spectrum of left-leaning articles, right-leaning articles, middle articles. Uh I've got a Kotaku article here. Now we've already read one and it went down the path of let me take this time in this article to explain to you about the horridness of American poverty. Chaos Smash says, "Excuse me, but the actual fuck." What's there to be? What's confusing about it? They use pneumonia. None of that blood samples, would be any good. Even if they got suspects in the case, they would have nothing. They use pneumonia. Fuck. I love that movie. Any, anyway, oh my gosh, I'm going insane. I was like really salty today. I've been had a lot of been having some insanity happening in my life. So it's good to sometimes go insane online. Now, some might say that could be bad because, people could get clips and I say, okay. I mean, what am I going to do? Anyway, Fortnite in legal trouble after adding AI Darth Vader. Oh, Gotaku, I hope you take this time to make a statement about the benefits of having a union. Please enlighten me. SAG-AFTRA, the massive actors and media union with over 106,000 members. Wow, a lot of members of the Film Actors Guild, has filed an unfair labor practice charge with the National Labor Relations Board against Epic Games over its inclusion of an AI-powered Darth Vader in a recent Fortnite update. You might have heard about the AI-powered Darth Vader that was added to Epic's popular Battle Royale game last week as part of the ongoing Star Wars themed season. Long story short, you can play Darth Vader, ask him questions, designed to mimic late James Earl Jones, and was done with his and his estate's permission. Pretty quickly after he was added, players got him to say slurs, swears, and other questionable stuff. Get used to it. Oh my gosh. You know it's going to happen. Anyway, Epic patched him up and seems to have gotten the Sith Lord under control. But now the developer's in hot water with one of the largest media unions in the country because it included this AI-powered Vader without first communicating or bargaining with them. SAG-AFTRA. All they got to do is move that F over to where the S is, drop the A, the T, the R, and the A, and then just add that S at the end, and more appropriate union title. On May 19th, as reported by Eurogamer, SAG-AFTRA announced that it had filed unfair labor practice charges against Epic Games. We know this, and Lima Productions. We celebrate the right of our member, blah, 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 blah. We're totally not involved in this, and we understand that the estate and James Earl Jones himself gave permission to use the new technology to, share what people loved about Star Wars. But we weren't we weren't talking about it. Literally the cuck in the room speaking up. The gimp in the room in the corner. The gimp in Zed's basement, whose only job was to watch the unsuspecting victims that get, taken down into said basement as one gets sodomized and the other gets watched over by the gimp. That is all, SAG-AFTRA is. You're a gimp. Stay in the fucking box until we need to call you for something. Same with the government. Just, you're the gimp. Stay in the damn box. We'll summon you when you're needed, and then we will put you away when your task is complete. So they claimed, Epic and stuff chose to replace the work of human performers with AI and did so without providing any notice of their intent to do this and without allowing the union to bargain over fair terms. They're not a part of it. Oh my gosh, I don't get this. Like, to me, it's like, okay, literally James Earl himself and the estate, who probably went through a bunch of legal ordeals to sign off on this and give permission to say, yes, you can go ahead and do this, probably overwrites everything. That'd be my opinion, but I don't know. I'm a ginger. What do I know? I have no soul, apparently. Wait, it just ends. The article just ends. It's currently on strike of the large video game companies, including EA. Okay, the strike started in 2024. You want to know how funny the strike is? Like, I completely forgot about it because I haven't heard anything about it and it hasn't made any leeway. So it becomes forgettable. Like, we don't care. I just save the GIMP until I run out of food. And then the article just ends right here. Oh, wait, no. Wait, what's this? Wait, what's this one? Oh, no, that's continue reading that article. Kotaku, I'm disappointed, Zach Winsey. Why didn't you take the time to pad this article with teaching me about the roles of unions and how they benefit mankind and all that? Because the other one went into the talk about American poverty. Well, anyway, there you go. Okay, so this is probably the main article I have in here that I do want to know. We all know about Sweet Baby Inc. We all know about Kim Belair. We all know, all about that stuff. Well, got this article here that apparently has fully exposed Sweet Baby Inc. and that a YouTuber uncovers shocking origin story and hidden founder erased from history. So a new expose from YouTube channel Gothic Therapy, hosted by Master of the TDS and Writing Raven, has exploded across gaming circles, pulling back the curtain on the origin of one of the most controversial narratives consultancies in, the industry. That is the Sweet Baby Inc. That is no longer sweet. Well, I would say was probably never sweet, but actually quite bitter and disgusting. Long positioned as a boutique firm dedicated to uplifting marginalized voices through storytelling. That's just a really fancy way of bastardizing an already established franchise or upcoming story. The company now facing devastating allegations that its very foundation is a fabricated cover story and that it may have government roots. So there's the video here. I haven't watched it, but if this is interesting to you guys, go check it out. The video, ominously titled "The End of the Sweet Baby Lie," goes far beyond the typical criticism of DEI influence in gaming. It claims to uncover a buried founder, falsified company records, and what could be deep ties to the Canadian government. Oh my gosh, just when the Canadian government can't get any gayer. Here you go. If what's alleged in the video is true, Sweet Baby Inc.'s rise in the gaming industry was not organic, but orchestrated. I would tend to agree. In fact, I think a lot of things, especially when the whole George Floyd thing came out, we've learned that a lot of people took that sweet woke money. And then it says full transparency. Writing Raven works for that park place. on unrelated matters under the name Raven Redgrave. Those damn Canucks. Those damn Canucks. Always doing everything. So the Sweet Baby myth falls apart. So Sweet Baby Inc. claims it was founded in 2018, developed or founded by Kim Belair, Dave Bedard, and Ariane McGilver, whatever, who cares? These people were in charge. Three friends with the dream of reforming game narratives. The press-friendly origin story of Sweet Baby Inc. has been repeated in interviews, panels, and keynotes for years. But Gothic Therapy dug into Canadian government filings and discovered that the real story begins with someone else entirely. Ooh. A man named Terrence Jason Herberts. The fact that his name is Terrence definitely screams Canadian. Terrence and Phillips. According to incorporation records, Terrence Jason Huberts was listed on day one as a vice president, director, and shareholder. His name appears as one of the actual founding members of the company in 2018, alongside Kim and that other person, McGilvery. Or McGilvray. But here's a twist. Hubert's name was quietly scrubbed from the records a year later in a corporate correction. I am like losing everything right now. Getting sick of seeing these fake exotic names. His shares were retroactively reassigned to Belair, effectively rewriting the past and removing him for history. Don't remember him for history. That doesn't really work for that Fallout. Bedard was only brought into the company in 2020 as COO, years after the company's incorporation, yet he has frequently been referred to as co-founder. This timeline simply doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. And that's just the beginning. The Montreal Condo and the Dead Shell Company. So May 21st of 2018, from a single Montreal condo unit, that apartment address right there, I'm not going to read it off. You can see it there. Two companies were incorporated. Well, I guess it's public knowledge, but anyway. Two companies were incorporated by Terrence Jason Huberts. One was a numbered company, 107-92357 Canada Incorporated, which quietly dissolved in 2021. The other? Bam! Sweet Baby Inc. Same man, same condo, same day, same sex life. I don't know. One was discarded. I was going to say his virginity, but maybe not. Maybe his butthole virginity? I don't know. The other grew into a media darling, helping shape AAA games under the guise of narrative justice. Yet the man who started it all, completely gone. No website mention, no interviews, no social presence, no credit. Gothic Therapy calls it what it appears to be. Erasure. The Vanishing Man. Chaos Smash says, I can see why you want it to be a VA. It's interesting because, part of acting, of course, is you want to be, you want to learn as much as you can. And a lot of people would encourage you to do, improv and stuff like that. And with improv, I mean, you can just let your mind go. And the big thing is to keep the scene going. So you don't want to really say no. It's called saying no. I learned that in Second City. You want to say yes, and you want to add on top of it because it can go in a direction organically that you never knew before, and it can be quite funny. So it's a weird mixture of wanting to be, have good diction, but also, just having fun and letting your mind wander. But again, you could come off as a lunatic, which I am, of course. And yet I'm a lunatic that gets annoyed when confronted, or at least seeing the ramblings of other lunatics, because it just makes me angry. That could be the autism. The deeper Gothic Therapy dug into Terrence Jason, I was going to say Johnson. See, I already fucked up. Huberts, the stranger things became. There's no LinkedIn, no public records, no explanation for why a co founder would be wiped from existence, but then came a potential clue. In the late 1980s, a man named Terry Huberts served as a member of British Columbia's Legislative Assembly and Minister of Parks. In his sparse interviews from that time, he publicly mentioned having a son named Jason. I have an appropriate clip we could have played there.
Oh, Captain Steve's a fucking horse.
Oh, Norm, I love you. You left us too young. But he took the cancer with him, so I guess that's a trade-off. You're a lunatic? Nah, me calling 911. We're good. We're G. Son named Jason. That name match isn't trivial. Neither is what came next. So Gothic Therapy uncovered that one of Terrence Jason's Hubert's companies listed a business address here, while Terry Hubert's years later operated a veterinary clinic here. Two entirely different cities, but the same suite number, 475. According to the channel, the statistical odds of these overlapping names, family connections, and address numbers aligning by pure coincidence is 1 in 100 million. Dang. So in 89, as Minister of Parks, Terry authored a government policy framework that outlined how private contractors could be embedded within public systems quietly, efficiently, and without public scrutiny. Ooh. If Terrence Jason Huberts is the same man or the son of that man, then Gothic Therapy alleges Sweet Baby Inc. may have been structured from the beginning to operate similarly as an embedded narrative force within game companies, as consultancy with a mission not just to tell stories, but to control them. If this is the same man, then Sweet Baby Inc. wasn't built to tell stories, Master of the TDS said in the video. It was created by the Canadian government from day one, structured by an insider, disguised as a consultancy, control the narrative. And I am not surprised if this is the case, because we see it all the time. So the government response that raises more questions. Following the video's release, Gothic Therapy sent a formal request to the British Columbia Legislative Assembly asking for Terry Hubert's full legal name. The response? Couldn't confirm it. So we got the post right here. Can't verify it, no confirmation, but no denial. Because the truth was never meant to be found, but we found it anyway. Dang. Because candidates are not required to use their legal names on ballots or in parliamentary documents, the assembly could neither confirm nor deny whether Terry Huberts was short for Terrence Jason Huberts. In the words of Gothic Therapy, the truth was never meant to be found, but we found it anyway. Dang. The alias that wasn't supposed to be found. Even more chilling, Gothic Therapy discovered that Sweet Baby Inc. registered a second business alias, Design Sweet Baby. On the exact same day as the original filing, it has no public use, no branding, and no clear purpose. The theory, it was a lifeboat identity, a backup plan in case the first brand faced collapse. What is the true origin of the Sweet Baby Inc.? If what Gothic Therapy revealed is accurate, Sweet Baby Inc. is not the grassroots, justice-driven narrative firm it claims to be. The company with a falsified origin, a buried founder, and possible ties to the Canadian government operation. The erasure of Terrence Jason Huberts. You think for the amount of time I've read that name, I could get it right now, but no. The rewriting of company filings, the statistical overlap with a government official, the second secret alias, all of it paints a potential picture not of idealism, but of orchestration. So people have speculated that Sweet Baby Inc. might be receiving government funding, Master of the TDS said, but if this connection is real, then the company wasn't just founded by the Canadian government. It was built by a former government official from the very beginning, and when that truth threatened the image, they rewrote it. Not because it didn't matter, Writing Raven added, but because it mattered too much to let you see. If gaming companies are still working with Sweet Baby Inc., they might want to ask who really founded this company. What's the origin of Sweet Baby Inc., and what exactly are you letting them write? You believe this report of the origin of Sweet Baby Inc.? Sound off in the comments and let us know. Uh, I mean, at face value, I mean, it sounds like you guys went to a lot of work doing it. And I'm sure the video probably shows a lot more of their receipts. But yeah, I would probably say like, yeah, 90% sure that it's exactly what they said, and they got caught, and they're so upset about it now. And as we know, a lot of woke stuff is being removed, but I still also think there is that concern, and of course, to keep an eye out of them just rebranding the name. Kirsha talked a lot about it. I need to actually like watch some of her stuff in terms of what was it? DEI and all that stuff is just rebranding itself and it's being named something else. We still have that problems. I do think we're getting rid of stuff, but I'm not surprised. And has it been confirmed when Endymion said that he found from Ubisoft that they originally, they wanted that monk to be the main character of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then because of George Floyd, they switched it to Yasuke or Yasuke, whatever you want to call him. Was that ever confirmed? That'd be crazy if I could get Kirsha on my show. I've reached out to her. I reached out to the booking email, the business email. People want me people want to see Kirsha on the show. I'd love to have her on. Shoot the breeze. Talk shit. Be fun. It'd be exciting. Yeah, and that stupid cancellation thing on her was so bullshit. So coming in hot more than ever and is on Side Scroller Plus. So good for her. I'm happy. So we are over like the hour mark. So let's keep going. Oh, this was IGN as gamers expressed concern about Borderlands 4 potentially costing 80. Yeah, I forgot. Oh, I didn't put this. I should have moved this over to like the other articles we had about it. But here's another article talking about the $80 comment. Shooting the breeze while she mind breaks you with her wild stories. I'd say bring it on. Let me hear them. Let me hear that crap. Outspoken Gearbox. Maybe IGN will make some sort of soapbox. Outspoken Gearbox chief Randy Pitchford has responded to a fan who expressed concerns about the prospect, $80 for that. You know this. If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. Video game industry has made the jump to $80, first with the Nintendo and Mario Kart World, then with Microsoft and its price hike announcement that will kick in the holiday season, and also the PS5. Dude, PS5 and Microsoft doing that, what a bunch of retards. Why would you do that? No one's going to buy it. Could Borderlands 4 follow suit? Though publisher 2K Games and parent companies Take-Two have so far remained vague on whether they will go to $80, and Randy Pitchford has insisted that the decision is out of his control. I don't really think so. I think he can at least give his thoughts, but I mean, can he make the final decision? Probably not, but I don't know. I feel like he would some leeway. But responding to one concerned fan on social media, he responded by being a douchebag. It doesn't say that. I just added that in there because, we need to spice this up a little bit. A real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. So we've already read the exchange a couple times, so we'll skip that. As you expected, Pitchford's comments have sparked, oh my gosh, vociferous? Or vocif. What the fuck is that word? All right, everybody, word of the day. What does this say? That's not what I wanted. What the heck? It wasn't even the, oh my gosh. I highlighted the word and I said read aloud, and then it started from the LMAO. What the dude? Okay, it's pronounced vociferous, and it means vehement or clamorous, especially of a person or speech. Vociferous. Why not just say he sparked a clamorous response? But there you go. New word for everybody. I learned something new. Vociferous. There you go. Anyway. Well, LMAO CEO said real fan. Woo wee and ooh wee. In this economy, said one social media user. Wow, that's probably a bad take. Cost of living crisis, and you're just gonna say if you're a real fan, damn, said another one, an elitist out of touch response. His solution, just buy it, you know you will. Is this how you treat loyal consumers? You should have just left the response at not my call and kept the gaslighting out of your response, added another. Oh, I don't know when you wrote this, IGN. Why didn't you use my response? I said, what a beta bitch response. That was mine. I thought mine was rather informative and you know, worthy of having my 2 cents being heard. So anyway, Loki says, I got Oblivion on the Xbox 360 version game for your Xbox One. Nice. Last week during a PAX East panel, Pitchford insisted that he didn't know the Borderlands 4 price, but refused to rule out $80. I'll tell you the truth, I don't know. That is the truth. I'll hit it straight on. It's an interesting time. Oh, why? Oh, you keyboard warrior. Why didn't you be that doucheful like in the on the panel? On one level, we've got a competitive marketplace where the people that make those choices want to sell as many units as possible, and they want to be careful about people that are price sensitive. No, they don't. Dude, no, they don't. They do not care about the people who want to be price sensitive. I said this in the beginning of this stream. I'll say it again. With Nintendo being the greedy buttholes that they are and setting the price at $80 and boosting the price of the console, all the other companies are going to fall suit. Then they stated, well, with the pricing of some games, we're going to do a price, it's going to be priced, it's going to vary. We're going to base it on what we think how much went into and what the gamers are asking for. So yeah, with Mario Kart and, Donkey Kong Bonanza and stuff, that'll be $80. But, there's going to be other games that aren't worth 40. Dude, the other studios, the AAA studios, the developers and all that stuff, they're going to tack on the highest price. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. They're going to tack on the absolute highest price because they saw Nintendo do it, and they know that the Nintendo shills are going to eat it up and buy it regardless, whether it's justified or not. Oh my gosh. Like, I hate this illusion. Like, well, you guys have a say in it. It's like, no, we don't. Clearly, we don't, because you guys haven't been listening to us. The biggest problem of why people don't want to pay $80 for these games is because they're modern games. These games suck. They have become glorified walking simulators where we do not need to see the very tiny bubbles inside of a beer in Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, for heaven's sakes, cool. You can make it as real as possible. Is that something that makes a game good? No, I'm so tired of that. It's so dumb. This is why even that study showed that people are playing games from the past. Because they still hold up to this day, and they didn't need motion cap, hyper realistic looking graphics to do it. There's other folks accepting the reality that game budgets are increasing for the wrong reasons, might I add. Like how Stuttering Craig pointed out, 2 hours in Assassin's Creed Shadows, when literally you could probably have fired 85% of the people involved in that. And then you just get rid of the motion capture. Again, you don't need motion capture for everything. Like, dude, I've been playing like some of like, your 2013s, your early games. It's clearly not real, but it's realistic enough that you could still be sucked into the, the world of that area. That's all you need. If I made a game, I announced the price of $80 on April 1st. Don't forget, a lot of things hide behind DLC or pay for this item for $74 a game. Yeah, exactly. No ray tracing garbage. Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, like, anyway. Are increasing, and there's tariffs for the retail budgeting. Dude, I'm so tired of the tariff excuse. That's been like, isn't it still where every tariff is halted except China because fuck China? Isn't it? Aren't we still there yet? And remember when Nintendo was like, yeah, we incorporated this for the tariff thing. And then it was like, oh, you guys make the switch in Vietnam and stuff. And Vietnam's like the first people to went to go negotiate with Trump. It's like, oops, wait a minute. Well, we're feeling it out. Getting gnarly out there, you guys. Borderlands 4 has more than twice the development budget for Borderlands 3, more than twice, and yet it's probably still going to suck. So the truth is, I don't know what the price is going to be. Cow smashes. This is just arrogance. In a recent interview, IGN asked Take-Two boss Strasa Zelnick if the company would go to $80 for its game. Zelnick wouldn't say either way, but he did say consumers would be willing to pay for the very best. See, and that's what they're banking on. Don't think about it. Just consume. Just consume. And this is the thing they don't want to admit is that they're purposely making it to where if you want the best, literally right here, if you want the best version, you have to pay the most expensive. It has to be the most expensive version. And the worst thing is the audacity that these companies are trying to do for that being a digital version. That is absolutely garbage. They want you to pay the absolute max amount and not own it. Disgusting. I've said for a long time that we offer enormous value, and that's our job, of course. Okay, I don't really care about what this guy has to say. UK announced a cheaper than expected 50 price point for Mafia: The Old Country, confirming that it is not an open world game, rather a linear narrative driven game. The announcement was positively received, with many fans saying they were more interested in a higher quality, cheaper story, a shorter story driven Mafia game than a bloated open world field game with repetitive mechanics. Amazing. Amazing on when you have a nice balance of a good, solid, narrative driven game combined with graphics that don't have to be super high or realistic, but good, believable, can keep you absorbed into that world, and can be $50. Amazing. What a concept. What a concept. Careful though, it's dangerous. We wouldn't want that to be the norm, would we? So given Borderlands 4 is due out September 12th, 2025, 2K Games will have announced the price sooner rather than later. Well, there you go. I had one more article here. I thought this was funny. This comes from Fandom Wire. The Last of Us Season 2 stunt double looks more like Ellie than Bella Ramsey. I thought this was funny. Oh my goodness. I just want to see what the difference is. Because it's just talking about the last. I could care less about than two. Everybody's already mad at it. It's like Cuckman gave you guys the middle finger again. The first time was when that is Last of Us Part 2, and then it's this again. What'd you expect? Let me see this. Here we go. Stunt double of Ellie in the show. Holy crap, dude! She totally could have played Ellie. Look at that. Amazing. So that was Cassandra. Apparently the person's name is Cassandra. Cassandra Ebner, who's also an actress, has been a stunt performer for popular movies and TV shows like Game of Thrones, The Flash, and more under her belt. Even though she's Bella's stunt double, she looks more like Ellie than them. Yeah. A lot of people were saying the person who played frickin' Abby looks more like her. Okay, I'll smash. She's hot. She does look very attractive. Bella Ramsey has a potato face. This is also true. And I mean, I feel sorry for Bella Ramsey. Because I think that is due. Anna, that Star Wars girl, pointed out that Hollywood is indeed purposely going after these young actresses and grooming them to make themselves not feel pretty, not feel feminine, and that you should be ashamed for being feminine. So therefore, more of your features need to look man-looking. More of your features, you need to be non-binary and stuff. I do think that that's definitely happening. The occult behind that for sure. The demon spirits behind, and it's taken over Hollywood. That is for sure doing that. But yeah, I said I wasn't really going to read this. I just thought it was fun. If you guys want to read it, you can. It's over on Fandom Wire. Fandom Wire is a recent place for news that I found very Very entertaining. Entertaining? What the gosh? I need to just have a bunch of bottles of like whiskey behind me, like 24/7, but not drink it. Just so when my diction and my grammar is absolutely terrible, I can just blame the alcohol. Edutainment. I am smart. Okay, should we try to like go back to this article? I feel like this is probably one of the articles I probably should have read offline by myself before I decided to take it on. That's part of why I do this show. I do it. What did you guys see are my first reactions, my pure first reactions. So I think it's funny. I think it's fun. I think I'm losing my insanity. Okay, we kind of like okay, we were here about what they were defining as the pop cult. I think we stopped or okay, their code is this. Apparently they're using this screen capture as a code. Don't ask questions, just consume product, then get excited for the next products. Well, I do think that that is for sure what the companies are trying to do. Creed. This is where the pop cult falls short of a full-fledged religion. While they have a massive and growing body of shared lore with which all members are expected to have at least a passing familiarity, only hopeless psychotics believe any of it is real. Okay, so I read that part and I pointed out how actually a lot of the stuff in pulp culture is based on Gnostic history and polytheism history that can actually be traced back to scripture and when you kind of look at the cultures that were happening all around that time, the idols they would worship and stuff, you'll be amazed at how twisted it is, the truth. So as a result, pop cult doesn't offer any answers. It's pure escapism. I mean, to me, sometimes there's nothing wrong with pure escapism as long as you're not harming anybody. The problem is it's an escape from self mastery and virtue into the clutches of soulless mega corporations. I mean, if you're if you're talking about the cult of the pop culture, I mean, maybe. I mean, to me, this is kind of like how some people, specifically with religion and whatnot, with Christianity and stuff, you're gonna have some those some people that we see the stereotype of it's all demonic. Just if it's labeling anything that they don't understand or they disagree with as demonic, is retarded because then you just create an island unto yourself and that defeats the purpose of Christianity where you're supposed to go and make disciples of all nations. That means stepping into the battlefield. That's why Paul talks about putting on the whole armor of God. And what exactly does that mean? It means that you can be alert of what's happening around you, and you should be. And if you study the scripture, then you would know what the truth is. And then with that, when those trials come about, you're ready and prepared. That's what it is. That doesn't mean you just stick your head in this, in the dirt and stuff. Now, now if it comes to like participating in that, that's where the slippery slope comes in because obviously scripture says you don't dabble with witchcraft, necromancy, and all that stuff. Obviously, you don't. You don't want to open up. You don't want to let any sort of demonic spirits, fallen angels, uh, you don't want to they call it a gateway. You don't want to let them, you don't want to open up that gateway to like latch onto you. Because you can be oppressed. Some people who aren't of the faith and don't have the Holy Spirit can be possessed, but you can be oppressed. But again, that's when if you have the whole armor of God on and you understand the truth that is scripture, you'll be fine. Because there are people who literally research this stuff, like my friend Gary Wayne, who has to pray daily, but he researches that stuff so he can tell people about it and let them know about it. And of course, ultimately let them, you come to your own conclusion. Anyway, the death cult. If you followed this blog for any length of time, I haven't really, you're well aware of the death cult's contours. Nevertheless, most people seem to need a constant reminder of this diabolical movement's evil. Death cult. A woman teaches how to build an altar for a post-abortion, which includes a container for the remains of the baby after being what the fuck? Yeah, that's straight up disturbing. He ends the do-it-yourself video by kneeling before the altar, not satire. Whoa. Yeah, that's just straight up insanity. In a nutshell, the death cult is a heretical, mutant offshoot of Christianity that discards Christian doctrines it doesn't like, warps the others into anti-human inversions of their original purpose, and enforce them with rabid zeal. You should take some time, getting to know the death cult since it's now the dominant culture force in the West. I mean, again, if you read up on scripture and understand that, you won't be surprised about this. Christ says many antichrists are going to come. You know, many false preachers and false shepherds, false prophets are going to come doing this weird shit. You need to be prepared for it. Definitely don't partake in this. Is just like straight up like enraging, like insulting to the aborted, to the child, and of course insulting the God. But when the good Lord comes back and his robe is literally splattered in blood from all the playing he's done and will continue to do, yeah, let's see how your altars help you there, because they're not. All right, so the cult, the vicious ritual acts that are each inversions of the Christian sacrament, taking part in a hate mob to unperson, an infidel reverse confession, same-sex marriage is the inversion of holy matrimony, butchering unborn babies and consuming their remains is the death cult's profane communion. I mean, this actually traces back again to the Nephilim, because they would practice blood consumption too, because Scripture says life is in the blood, and the Nephilim are hybrids from fallen angels who had sex with the daughters of man. They're called the Banaha Elohim, the sons of God. You can read this in Genesis 6:4, and then you can read about it in Jude, where they left their proper estate, committed sins. But all this is where all that stems from, because they created hybrid beings that some were giant, Raphaim, the Nephilim, all that stuff. But because they were an abomination of God's, creation of humanity, when they died, there's the angels that committed the sins during the flood, they're chained into the bottomless pit in Tartarus. Second Peter talks about that. It's translated, I believe, as hell, but the correct word is Tartarus. And yes, that is a Greek word, but that's what it means. And part of it is that, as they continue to spread this unholy seed like throughout people, their powers would dwindle, because these people had powers. They were giants. A lot of them, some had 6 fingers, some could regenerate and whatnot. And when they died, their spirits were cursed to roam until Judgment Day. And that's kind of where you get your demons coming from. That's a layman's basic. Don't take me 100% word on that. Do your own research. That's just my studying that I'm coming to so far. I may not even be presenting that correctly. But what I'm saying is, this consumptioning of remains and stuff is not surprising. They do this because life is in the blood, and they believe that the more that they consume, the more power they get. They can remain. This was back in the day. And when they, to avoid dying so that they wouldn't then be cursed. Anyway, code. The Byzantine and ever-changing form of cynical, coercive speech, codes known as political correctness, now so infamous that death cultists are scrambling to rebrand it. Creed. The death cults embrace 2 co-equal but contradictory dogmas. Everyone is so radically equal that all distinction between individuals are oppressive social constructs. 2 straight white Christian males have unnatural superpowers which have enabled them to enslave and oppress everyone else. Is this supposed to be taken seriously? I do find it funny of unnatural superpowers. I mean, if they're saying that these Christian males have unnatural superpowers, I mean, Gotta test the spirits to see where it's coming from. If it ain't from God, it's not good. Someone might have latched onto something. That's kind of like what occultists do. They'll have peoples who are there are people who are summoners. They'll summon the spirits of demons and whatnot, and then there are people who are the pretty much the the vessel. They'll transfer people inside the vessel, and they can transfer it into objects as well. So unlike the pop cult, which is really just a funnel in the death cult run, yeah, I, I understand these people are trying to make a distinction, but literally, it's all like you just put it all together. It's either from God or it's not. Like I understand where they're getting from, but I think the average person who's may have stumbled upon this article might be going, "What the hell?" Oh my goodness. Anyway, uh death cult run by the latter's high priest. The death cult does offer explanation for humanity's past, present, and future. Everyone existed in a natural state of blissful equality until great white men enslaved. This is the origin and story of what colonized all the groups. The golden age ended, bringing forth misery and inequality by the evil white man's hand. Pattern day for daily life. All death cults must work tirelessly to smash the patriarchy, bash the fashion, and the scourge of whiteness. Hashtag resist. Simplify. All this boils down to relentlessly attacking Christ and his disciples, though. Admitting that out loud breaks the death cult's discipline of secret eschatology. Once white people are a majority and the churches have been turned into dance clubs, the golden age of peace and equality will dawn once more. Most people live, they won't be there to see it because they'll all have been murdered, but it'll totally be worth it. For a story that embodies the ideas of justice, honor, and self sacrifice, read Combat Frame Exceed. Oh, you. Wait a minute. wait. Wait. A guest posted Brian Niemeyer, #1 best-selling author, winner of the first ever Dragon Award for Best Horror Novel. As an editor, Brian helps his top-selling clients realize the best version of the book. Wait, that's literally how the article ended? All that so you can plug in a book. I feel like I've been gypped. I mean, I was getting where they were coming from, and now that like I was more zoned in on this, I was kind of okay. I can see where you're going with this. All that to just go to this book. Oh my goodness. Chaos Fishes, yeah, you got punked. I'm a little disappointed. But I actually do find that stuff interesting. I don't dabble with it, of course. Like I said, there's people who I trust and I've prayed about, like Gary and that stuff, who's actually done research and actually read this stuff and is sharing it with people. Um, like in a in a foundation on Christ and everything. So I know it's safe, but man, like he's been attacked. He's the man. All right. Well, that was fun. I'm not gonna end on being punked. I refuse. So we're gonna look up what games were released this day. What video games throughout these years were released. May 21st, and we'll even do May. Well, today's May 20th. Frickin' Game Facts always starts on the next day for me. So we'll start with today, and then we'll also check out the 21st. Let's do this as we wrap up the show here. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think about these articles. Hope you enjoyed it. We got Burning Fight Arcade. Oh gosh, Alien versus Predator. There you go. Scooby Doo, Night of a hundred. I was gonna say of a thousandth, right? I thought that was. I had the N64 one. Scooby Doo, Night of a Thousand. I thought it was Nights of a Thousand Frights, but this is Night of 100 Frights. Evil Dead, A Fistful of Boomstick for PlayStation 2. Rise of Nation, Demolition Girl. Oh gosh, Ultraman 2004. Ooh, Mario Tennis opening. I need to continue my Mario Tennis and Mario Golf, actually. I like the Mario sports game, specifically tennis and golf. I think those are fun. Oh gosh, the Darksiders collection. I liked Darksiders and I tried Darksiders 2 and stopped. Oh, and then I heard Darksiders 3 was just awful. Once again, everything just coming to ruin. So ruined. So some games that kind of stick out to me. I would say nothing of this list was very super impactful per se, but maybe to some. But that's why we'll check the next one. Check the next day. So what do we got the next day? Game Boy Wars, Hunter the Reckoning, Lost Kingdoms 2 for the GameCube. Oh gosh, it seems like a slow day. Seems like a past couple slow days for video games here. Yeah, I don't really know any of these ones. Oh man, Techno Babylon for PC. It's bold, so maybe that made an impact. Fast and Furious Showdown. World's Scariest Police Chases for a PlayStation. Ew, Team Sonic Racing. Oh, is that in like the past one? Oh yeah, right. Oh no, right here. Here you go. Team Sonic Racing. Apparently, Chaos Smash, a beloved game. Alrighty, but that's all I had for you guys tonight. So hope you enjoyed this show. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to help support the channel. Push up that algorithm. And if you want to check out memberships, tiers, or subscriptions over on YouTube and Rumble, you can. This time around, we were on YouTube, Rumble, X, and I was over on BitChute. Finally got BitChute set up, so I kind of started over there. We're over there. You can find me at PowerCat Greg as well. Tomorrow we'll be continuing gaming. We've been playing Star Wars, The Dark Forces, Dragon Ball Origins, and I'm trying to, and I just started Mega Man 9. I've been introducing new series to kind of mix it up a little bit. So we got your retro games. I think I kind of wanted to make it based on PlayStation, like specifically type games, not so much exclusives, but maybe that might be something down the road. But I think I kind of just broaden it to where we'll do more retro games. Let's see. I'll have to look up like what a stopping point would be, but I would probably say like your PS3 or where I would stop. And then the Star Wars game was just for like the May 4th thing, but I was enjoying it. It's like Doom, so I'm continuing it. So we'll continue that tomorrow, hopefully 8 p.m. Central Time, if not 9 p.m. time. Appreciate you hanging out. Later Loki, later Chaos. Let's see. Wait. Didn't you say something about a hack and slash game with like some bunny girl game? It's called I want to say I think I remember I remember what it was named, but I don't know. I have to look into it. Yeah, Zev did a video of it. Not Bunny. Is it Blood Bunny or something? I'm seeing Blood Bunny game. Is that it? Conan was its name. Oh. Conan. Conan video game. Oh, yeah, I saw this. Yeah, it looked interesting. I do like my hack and slash. I feel like I want to tackle more. Yeah, but for anyone wondering what it is, that's what it looks like. Yeah, it kind of gives me a near automata sort of feel. Which I have that. I don't know. I know everyone says Near Automata is good. Like, I know it's a hack and slash game, but something about Near, there were some elements where I wasn't too interested in. Kind of reminded me of Metal Gear Rising. Yeah, this part right here. Very cool. All right, let's see. Who can we raid over on? Fortunately, the Kickstarter has not reached its goal yet for the game, and it has 9 days left. Oh, that sucks. Fortunately, I'm a little tight on monies. And honestly, like it's cool, but I wouldn't want to get it like. Let's see. Now Smash says, "Damn it." Sorry, maybe there's some other hot hack and slash games with hot women. I want to get Stellar Blade once that comes to PC. I think that'd be fun. All right. Well, I'm not seeing people I follow on YouTube. I'm not seeing there, and oh, there's no one on Rumble too. Well, I guess yeah. Guess we're just gonna call it then. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Again, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Check out my other stuff on tomorrow. So you guys have a good rest of your night. Take care. God bless, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.